What is going on, everyone? I'm back on the mic today from Spectral Sound, bringing you a new tutorial, serum tutorial to be exact, of the ever popular Borgore 100s bass. Now, I know there are a myriad of tutorials of this particular sound on YouTube, but looking through the popular ones, I'm thinking to myself, there's none that are that they don't get that close. Like, sure, they'll sound like kind of similar, but it doesn't I wouldn't hear the two and say, oh yeah, those are based on the same sort of sound. So I wanted to make a tutorial and see how close I could get to it. The only tutorial I think that can rival mine is probably the cymatics tutorial that they had Shane from Rocket Power Sound talk about that on the Cymatics FM channel. But you had to use Cymatics wavetables for that. You had to go and purchase their wavetables. I'm like, what is that? I don't want to do that. So yeah, let's play the original track. This is, like I said, this is 100s by Borgore.
I'm here making millions.
Now I'd say that my recreation right here is pretty dang accurate. Now when I say accurate, I'm basing it off what other sounds on YouTube have come to, like what they were like. I think mine has gotten a lot closer than others. Y'all might be like, what are you talking about? This is like not a thing like it. This tutorial right here shows it perfectly. Well, I don't know, because I haven't seen that tutorial. I just went through some of the more popular ones. So this one is my sound. Alright, as you can hear, it's extremely similar to this. It's not exactly the same, but I'm going to show you the techniques on how I got the sound to where it is. Now, in this particular thing, there are two patches. Well, technically there are three. There are two of the main sound. This one right here is just it's just a longer version. Like the original thing is held out, or it should have been held out a little longer. Fix that up. Okay. Held out a little longer like that, so you can get a more of a feel rather than it makes it's longer. So that's the only reason. Other than that, those patches are exactly the same. And the sub bass, which, why didn't I have the sub bass turned on? It's up to you. The sub bass isn't part of the serum patch. But okay, let's get right into this. This is a serum, like I said before. This is all serum wavetables, so you don't have to worry about downloading any. So let's start here. I pulled up my basic shapes. It says basic shapes too. That's just something I made. All you need is a sine wave, like that. And then I'll get to this warping later. Then you want a monster 2 on this second wavetable. Now on oscillator A, you want the level all the way down, so it's not making sound, because we're going to be frequency modulating from, or it's going to be, oscillator B is going to be frequency modulating from A. Sorry, I just woke up. Alright, so the oscillator B is a monster. We're going to take this LFO, this shape here. You can just recreate this real quick. It doesn't matter, whatever you feel like doing. But we're going to drag it onto this level and push it up 75%. So it's going right up to normal when this LFO is all the way up. So yeah. Now on the wavetable position, we're going to set it to 136, and we're going to bring the wavetable position down -49. So we're just getting the lower end. You see there's higher frequencies here that really mess up with the FM. We just want those lower sort of style frequencies to get a lot cleaner sound. That's what really makes it sound. I was scrolling through the wavetables trying to find a good one. This monster 2 jumped out at me and it sounded really nice. So obviously, yeah, just sine wave. I already went through that. And we're going to put asymmetrical plus minus. I feel like it wouldn't need to be a plus minus, it could just be a minus, but I have the level all the way up on the plus minus, and I brought the level down -50%. So when the oscillator is, when this LFO is all the way down, like at this point or that point, whatever, it's all the way asymmetrical minus. And then when it goes up to the top, it's all the way, there's nothing. There's no kind of warping going on. And that's what creates the metallic sound. I wanted the metallic sound up top, but then the metallicness to kind of fade out toward the back, toward the bottom when it's coming down. So that's how that was achieved. Now that's all the modulation there, no unison. I have a little bit of noise. That's just the acoustic hum one. That should be just a normal thing. The level was at 21%, and I bumped it up with the LFO to 25. Bumped it up 25. So that's just a little extra brightness, and we'll get to that. I'll get to the post processing, which the post processing is very minimal. It's most of it is all in Serum. It's mainly just like EQing and a little bit of compression. So, all right, the filter. This is a very important part of the sound. This is the sound without the filter. This is the sound with the filter. You can see that adds a lot of vocalness to the filter. It makes it sound a lot more. There's a lot more modulation going on there. This is a high pass notch. High pass notches are very good for making good vocal sounds in your basses. The high pass notch and high pass plus peak filter. Those are my two favorite filter shapes here. I love doing that. So there's a lot of modulation going on. You can see both the oscillators are going through. They don't. A doesn't need to go through it. I don't know, but because the level's all the way down. But all right, for the cutoff, I have that at 86, 74 hertz, and I'm bumping the LFO is bumping it up 30 by 30 right there. So it's just coming up and back. That notch is coming up and back. That's really what creates a good vowel sound. Then we have the resonance, which is basically how much this notch is poking up. You see it's kind of poking up there. If there was no resonance, it'd just be a smooth curve, and we wouldn't get that much vowel sound. So it's going up and down with the LFO. I have the resonance at 40%, and the LFO is bumping it up by 31. And the drive is also going up. It's at 0% when the LFO is all the way down, and it goes up 24 with the LFO. Now for the frequency, I have that at 72%. That's what's controlling this notch filter right here. I have this notch going back and forth. That's perpendicular to the way that the high pass is going back and forth. So it's doing a sort of cross right there for some extra modulation and vowel. So it's at 72%, and the LFO is bringing it down negative 38. So it's going from there to there. And that's creating a good vowel sound, and you can see it when it's playing. Very nice. All right. Now, I think that's all in this section. I was going to put it on trigger. I have it on a half right there. Mono legato, you don't want to play two at once. That messes things up. The effects. The effects are extremely important. Let me do this without. Let me turn off all the effects. This is what it sounds like. Oh, this last one is not. I'm not working with that one. But yes, as you can see, the effects are extremely important. I'll go through step by step so you know exactly what we're doing here. Alright, for the hyperdimension, there is no unison here, so there's like no spread. It's completely mono, so I wanted a little bit of dimension. Have the size down turned on to 1%, and the mix at 50%. That's what I do with almost all my basses. The mix for this hyper is 11%. A unison is 4. I brought the detune down to 8%, and the rate is at 16%. I just brought that down to make it a little tighter. I didn't want a lot of that. That does kind of mess up the sound a bit. So I just wanted a bit of that. Now for some disto, I have downsample, which I rarely ever use, but it came in very handy in this situation because I wanted some good clean high frequency action going on here. So, and you could tell before this that it was already very high frequency. That's just because of the post-processing. I have a bunch of EQing on the post-processing and a little bit of reverb, but we'll get to that soon. It's very minimal post-processing. And so we have the drive. at 13%, so it was just a really high, just a little more screechiness in the top end that the downsample is doing. The mix is all the way down, and I'm bringing up the mix with this low frequency oscillator. It's bringing up 51. Don't mess with the filter here. That messes things up. Alright, for the phaser, this phaser is also very important because in this sound there is two main sort of vowels going on. There is the yi vowel, the band reject vowel that's making the yi sort of talking, and then there's the wow kind of vowel. So if we listen to the original track, you can hear a yi and a wow going on. Now, I was listening to that. When I was analyzing this and trying to recreate the sound, I heard both of those vowels, so I figured, how am I going to get both of them? Now, the yi is coming, a lot of the yi is coming from this filter. And this sound already had a little bit of yi to it, so we didn't have to do it terribly much. But this phaser is where a wow is coming in a lot. Because I turned the rate all the way down and the depth all the way down. And I'm modulating the frequency going up, so it's going to go whoa, 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 kind of like if you were going to make a snail's bass, like in my tutorial, that's what it would do. So I have the frequency at 46 hertz, and it's going up with the LFO 26. So that's a lower, kind of like a whoa, whoa sort of formant thing. And the mix is also going up. It's at 30%, and the low frequency oscillator is bringing it up 33%. Don't mess with the phase. Feedback is at, I don't even know if I messed with the feedback, 80%. I don't think I did, but that's what it is. Okay. Chorus. I have a little bit of chorus going on here just for a little extra spread. The rate is down at, 0.03 hertz. The delay 1 is 0.5, and wow, that's down super low. I don't even know. It says 0.0 milliseconds, but I don't know, a little bit, a tiny bit. I'll just say that. Depth all the way up. Feedback is 10%, and this is the low pass filter. This is extremely important because normally the chorus, before it runs through the chorus, it gets low passed, and so we're just hearing the low passed version of the chorus sound. You gotta turn the low pass filter all the way up so the chorus is also running through those high frequencies. That's where you get a good amount of spread. It took me a while to figure that out. I don't know why. I was just messing with it. But okay, the mix is not super high. It's at 29%, just a little bit in there for a bit of extra spread. All right, we got the filter, or an additional filter. This is basically the same thing as up there. So what we have here, I have a band reject. That's for a little extra of the yi sound because the phaser does affect it a lot. So actually this filter is actually doing both a yi and a wow, and I'm going to show you how it's doing that. So the cutoff is at 766 hertz, and it's going up at 6. It's just going up 6, really small amount. Now how a sort of wow vowel is created is things going back and forth in the spectrum, such as a band pass filter or a low pass filter or a high pass filter like I've done here. High pass filters are very good for it and still keeping the sound clean. But so this is taking a band reject and it is moving it back and forth in the spectrum to create that extra sort of a little bit more wow and a little bit more depth in there. But it's also closing in on itself. It's also the width is closing to create the yi sound, because how a yi sound is made is basically two peaks or two dips moving toward each other in the middle of the spectrum in the formant areas. It's like this was. This is moving this way and this one is moving that way. They're going together to create a yi sound. That's how that sort of vowel is made. So a band reject is very good for that because that's basically what it is, two peaks and a dip in the middle. And so we have the cutoff. The resonance is 8% and it is going up 26. Again, that's just how much those peaks are peaking to create the vowel. Drives all the way down, didn't mess with that. 63% is the width when it starts out, when it's at the very bottom, and it comes all the way back to almost all the way. It comes down to negative 57%. That was almost all the way, not quite. If it was all the way, it'd make a yoi sound. We don't want a yoi sound, we want a yi sound, so we have to just do it almost all the way. Pan, don't mess with that. Mix is all the way up. Flanger, extra screechiness. We all love that. So the rate is all the way down. I have the depth here at 71% and the feedback at 66%. Didn't mess with the phase. That's at 180. And the mix is going down and all the way up. What happens here when the flanger is not flanging itself, when I turn the rate all the way down, I can find the perfect position where it's amplifying those really screechy harmonics, some of the odd harmonics there that add some extra metallic sounds to it. And especially when I'm modulating it so there's no metallic down here and it gets really metallic up at the top, just extra modulation. But I'm doing a lot of modulation. There's like 21 things. Well, okay, and onto the EQ for extra wowage. I have brought the frequency. It's all the way down. It's 22 hertz for this. This is a high pass filter. I have brought the frequency up with the LFO 40, and the Q factor starts out at 71, but then it goes down to -24, just so it's peaking at the bottom, and then when it comes to the top, it's not there's no peak anymore, so we don't get a really like messy sort of mid like piercing sound. That isn't really what we were going for. We just wanted it in the low end to just add a little more sweep. And the gain is at -1.3. I just put that at like 0 because it didn't make a difference. Okay, yeah, that gain is at 0. This one is a low pass filter. This is basically acting kind of like a band pass filter, except we have complete control over both sides of the band. Now on the frequency, we have 147 hertz, and it's going up all the way at 75%, or just 75 going up. Q factor again starts out high at 60%, and then it goes down to -28. So again, we don't get that real sharp, like piercing sound at the high end. That's not what we want. It sounded gross. So yes, it's extra movement. You can see it when I go right here. Just adds a little extra of the wow factor because there's a lot of yai in this. All right, little bit of reverb. No, I don't think I did the reverb. Oh, I did the reverb in the post processing. Okay, so that's the serum patch right there. That's what you got. Now this is the patch without the post processing. Pretty crap, right? So all we need for this is basically a ton of EQing. So let's go into here. I have a sound goodizer on. If you're not an FL user, then all you have to do to replicate the sound goodizer is it's a multi-band compressor with the high end and the low end boosted. That's all it is, and I just turned it up a bit. Now let's go through. Let me take all of these off and a little bit of reverb. But okay, this is the sound with just a sound goodizer. It has a little more of a compressed feel, and the high end is bumped a bit. It's sharper. It's better. I don't want to be quoting Carnage here, but it's very, way more stronger. And now, since it's still very dull, I did some extreme EQing here. Like this is without this EQ. It really lacked that high end, so I had to bring it up a lot. Here's with the EQ. So much cleaner, right? Now, on my headphones, that sounds beautiful. That might be way too much high end for whatever you're listening on. I don't know what you're listening on, depends on your speakers. But you can adjust that accordingly. It's just EQing, bringing down that mid section and bumping the high end a lot. Oh, and cutting the sub, because we don't want any sub in this patch. We had a external sub. Okay, so another EQ. Now this is a very simple thing. You didn't have to do this. This is just something I decided to do. There is another subcut. I don't know why I did that, but I brought this down. I turned this. It was normally like that. I found the frequency 2,255. I didn't mean to find that. That was just the frequency I chose, and I pulled it down a bit. Now this is in a formant area, so what this is going to do, this is going to add some extra depth to the sound. It's going to make it just a little bit deeper. It's a little, just taking away some, well, not completely taking away, ducking down some frequencies there. You might not be able to hear it. I heard it. This is before the EQ. After. Very subtle, very slight. I don't know. I like it. You don't have to do that. But then just a tad bit of reverb. You see that the wet, the ER is down a ton. Low cut is up a bit. You can see the levels here. Decay is down a lot, but just a slight bit. A little bit of depth. That's all I wanted to get with that reverb. And finally, just a little bit of limiting to bring up the level. Just to bring up the level a bit, so it sounds good. So okay, we basically nailed that sound. So yeah, that was this tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you liked it, smash that like button below. Also, add a sub if you want more tutorials such as this. Leave a comment below if you want me to do another tutorial like this for a sound you make. Note I make most of my sounds in Serum, as if you're one of my subscribers, you've probably learned by now. I can also do it in Massive and FL Native plugins if I see it fitting. So thank you all for watching. As always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.